So Bitcoin as of now is down 6.69% on the day, which is a pretty significant drop even for crypto, because Bitcoin is the big boy and you don't necessarily see those impulsive moves as often as you used to back in the early days. So it is something to take note. You will also probably take note if you are following some stock YouTubers, some financial advisor YouTubers, financial YouTube channels. You will notice people are probably throwing up the flames, the fire on their thumbnails. They're probably screaming crash incoming. All of that may be true because no one has a crystal ball. However, we are gearing up for a Bitcoin and crypto bull run that I think is going to last anywhere from a year to a year and a half. Now, is it going to come tomorrow? No, but it's going to come in the near future. And while swing trading is timing things, it is not timing it perfectly. It is playing the probability of a trade and readjusting day by day, right? So this is actually exactly what is on par with Bitcoin. We can zoom out to the daily and the weekly. And before I do, notice that little blue line right there. That is the Bitcoin halving that is scheduled to happen this year in April. So let's go back to the previous halving. So you can see all the previous halvings. First one went up 9,000%. Second one, 3,450%. Third one, 762%. You can see, now notice the beginning of this green block in every one of these is the beginning of the halving, okay? So everything before that is equal to, this right here, because we have not had the halving yet. So if you notice, we had a pump leading up to the halving in 2012, 2013. Then, if you notice, we're going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see it clearer. You notice that we had some pump, then a crash, kind of flatlined. We even had the halving flatlined, and then Bitcoin took off. Second time around, same deal. A pump, little bit of a crash, flatline, even more of a crash after the halving, flatline, and then Bitcoin took off. We will go again to 2020. So we had the COVID crash right here. We had a pump, the halving, flatline, down a little bit, took off. Now, where are we right now? We had a pump. Can you say this is a crash yet? No, not really. But you can say that it's potentially the start of a new crash, right? So what are we expecting what are we expecting to happen to Bitcoin after that? Well, we're expecting more downside, probably flatline after the halving. Brings a very interesting question, because is it going to continue to be people taking profits, or are people going to be flooding into the market at the halving because they know what comes next? You got to remember, this right here on every one of the halving is a play the rumor, sell the news, okay? After the halving, you now have a new scenario where you have investors and traders all knowing that there is a huge bull run generally, at least historically, that has happened after every halving. That I could see really cause some buying pressure, and I could see that really taking Bitcoin off to where we don't even really have that flat line. However, a lot of it is going to depend on interest rates and the overall economy and the overall markets, right? Because the S&P 500 plays a factor in overall investor and trader sentiment. That is very important, and you can't discount that, right? And you ought to also keep in mind that while we are expecting to see a surge in the economy and the stock market and crypto, when the interest rates do eventually start to go lower, generally they go lower after a crash, which makes sense, right? Because they lower interest rates when we usually are seeing economic downturn. The counterpoint to that is that we're trying to do a soft landing this time, and once we get back down to 2%, maybe they will start scaling. that's all I got for you. I really appreciate everyone sticking around. I have not posted in a while. There's been a lot of big events happening in my life, mostly good. I think all good. Can't think of any bad ones, so we're going to stick with all good. And I am back. I'm going to start making videos again. I really appreciate all of the viewers, all the subscribers that stuck around. I really appreciate if you just hit that like button. If there's nothing else you do for the channel, do that. It helps me out a ton. So appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.